Happy birthday, Marilla.
Thank you. Thank you for coming for us.
My mom has come out to Kaplanski's for the first time to watch. And I invited her out because I am a true believer that you don't say anything behind someone's back that you would not say to their face.
Hello.
Tomorrow is April 1st, right, sir? I have nothing to do with my mother on April 1st. Nothing. You know why? Because she's evil. She is a doctorate away from being like a supervillain, okay? She is evil. Let me explain to you. I was about 5 years old, and on April 1st, my mother comes crawling into my room after she had visited my sister, who's 3 years older than I am, and said, there's a fire, roll on the floor, just like we practiced, crawl, she's crawling, go, get out the door, feel the door handle, running us through the drill, feel the door handle, okay, it's okay, get in the hall, both of you get in the hall, locks us out for like 3 days. Not really 3 days, but in my 5-year-old mind, it seemed like 3 days. And she doesn't do this every year, sir. Because you expect it every year. No, she waits. She'll wait years and years to do this kind of thing again. Okay? So I had just had to quit my first job. I was 14 or 15. And after sending my sister upstairs to babysit some children who didn't need babysitting, it's a horrible story. She wakes me up and says, somebody broke the window at the drugstore you used to deliver at. So I roll out of bed, and she said, your boss, she can't get a hold of anybody. She wanted you to go up and help her clean. So I grab my skateboard, throw on some clothes, I grab my skateboard, and I go all the way up there, and I'm looking at the front window, which is completely intact. I'm peering in the drugstore. Okay, so this is fine. So I go around the back and I look at the little window above the back door, and that's completely fine. So I go back to the front, still half asleep. I'm knocking on the window to see what the problem is, and then I turn to a gentleman walking by, and I said, what day is it? He says, April 1st. I said, shit. But the worst, probably the best, evil genius thing my mother has ever done was when she was trying to breed parrots.
Breed?
She was trying to breed parrots. So, when you're breeding parrots, they have a nesting box that you're not supposed to go in and disturb, and you just make sure that the eggs are okay. And my sister, as frequently my sister and I have done, have gone home to stay for periods of time to get back on our feet because we're screw-ups. And my sister is living with my mom, and of course wakes up about 10 or 11, whatever. And my mom, she calls my mom first thing in the morning, her first thing in the morning. And my mom said, look, I didn't get a chance to change the paper in the bird cage. I need you to change the paper for me, please. So my sister, being a wonderful person, goes to change the paper and sees this turquoise egg in the bottom of the cage. Was it turquoise?
Lime green.
Lime green egg in the bottom of the cage. So she calls my mother and says, there's an egg in the cage. And my mom, being the genius she is, gets irritated with her. What were you doing in the egg box? You're not supposed to go in the nesting box. That will disturb the birds. No, it was just on the bottom of the cage. I didn't do anything. It's just sitting. And my mom says, well, is the bird on it? No, it was just sitting there. So mom says, I'll call you back. I have to call around and find out what to do. My mom hangs up the phone and apparently is laughing so hard at work. All the other people are coming around and saying, what's so funny? So my mother explains. So she gets a group gathering around her at work because they want to see how the story plays out. My mother calls back my sister and says, if she has forsaken the egg, you need to keep it body temperature. Okay? Because otherwise the egg will die. You need to make, well, I don't have an incubator, you have to wait until I get home, I can take it to my friend's place who has an incubator. So you need to keep it someplace warm. And I've heard the warmest place, like in relation to what a bird would be, is your armpits. At this point, my sister's boyfriend has come over and is hearing these instructions, and somehow they managed to put the egg under her armpit, but being concerned for the egg and not wanting to crush it, have wrapped up a towel and stuffed it between her rib cage and her arm, and taken a tensor bandage to fashion a sling to her body so the egg doesn't get crushed. Calls back my mom and explains this apparatus to her, and it's all my mother can do to keep from laughing while on the phone. I don't know how she did it. I come from a long line, apparently, of beautiful liars, because my mom would just play it off to a T. A few hours later, maybe 2 hours later, my sister calls up my mom and said something to the effect of, "I hate you, bitch." Something like, because her body had warmed up enough that the dye from the chicken egg had started to run down her body. So this is just a quick explanation as to why I love my mother. She is brilliant. Most people do not excel to her level of evil genius, but I have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with her on the 1st of April.